Okay, thank you for attending, everybody. So just a few housekeeping rules before we start the webinar. All attendees will be on mute and will remain so for the whole webinar. Please use the question box to answer any questions related to the topic, and all questions will be answered after the demo. If we run out of time or if the question requires a longer answer, then it will be answered offline directly. Please use the chat box for any questions related to the webinar, for example, if you can't hear the audio or if the presenter is going too fast. And please note that a link to view the webinar recording will be sent to all the attendees after the demo. So to introduce the top 5 webinar series, this is a small amount of key points in to focus on. This is the 8th in the series of monthly webinars. You can sign up for one, some or all of them, and we will be sending out emails to register for the rest of the series. Okay. So my name is Karen. I'll be facilitating the demo today. I'm an account manager here at TVision. My background is 17 years of software account management experience working for ERP companies. Ian's going to be doing the demo today. He's a support consultant here at TVision, and he's been working here for about 2 years, and he's been using NAV since 2000. Okay, so the topic today for this webinar is reporting. Now, there are many ways to report on the information within NAV in order to satisfy your requirements for KPIs, sales reports, management reports, and ad hoc reports. But which one is right for your business? Well, here at TVision, we put together this webinar as a guide to understand what output you actually need and therefore which solution will be the most suitable. And it's going to be even more important with Making Tax Digital coming in April of next year. And just to let you know, we will be doing a webinar on that soon as well. So these are the 5 key considerations when deciding which reporting method is best. So first of all, who is your audience? Who are you producing the reports for? Second, what's the desired output? So what do they actually need? Is it management reports? Is it KPIs? Is it anything legislative that they need? And then interesting consideration is why. You know, why are you doing this? What's going to be the actionable insights that are going to come from this reporting? Have you just always been producing this report, but you don't know what it's used for? So it's always good to kind of consider, you know, why are you actually doing the report? Number 4, so what level of granularity do you need? How much detail do you really need to go down into? You know, is it just a summary which is needed, or do you need to kind of drill down into very key information? And then finally, how do you want to access the reports, and how often do they actually need to be updated? Okay, so we're going to be using a scenario for this webinar, looking at reporting from different company roles and then suggesting the most effective way to satisfy these needs. So before the demo, I'd like to take a quick poll to see how happy you are with your current reporting method. So if you wouldn't mind putting your answer in, that'd be great. I'll give it a few seconds and then I'll let you know the answers. Okay, I'm just going to give it a few more seconds for everybody to submit their answer. Okay, just still got some more answers coming in. Okay, so it's quite interesting there. It's nearly half of the answers are actually saying that you're not very happy with your current reporting method, but you are looking into better solutions. Then it's pretty evenly split between no, we know what the issues are, but we don't have the time and resource, and yes, but it takes too long. Only about 13% actually now are saying that they are using the most effective way. Okay, I'll now hand over to Ian, who'll be doing the demo for you.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, everybody. Today, I'm going to be pretending I'm a business analyst, and different people are asking me for different types of reports. It's all going to be sales-based reports. I can't cover everything. There's just so much. And for today's demonstration, I'm using a standard NAV 2018 database. And as I said, I am working for Kronos UK, which is the demonstration company, and I'm going to be answering some people's questions. First scenario that comes up, I'm going to look at the simplest option, which is a standard report. Somebody's asking me for a report about sales, so I know to answer their question, it's my top 10 customers list. I can go and search for it in the search bar. But instead of doing that, I would invite you to click on your departments, looking each department, and when you drill down, you can see a list of all the standard reports that are available in NAV. If I go to finance, I can see a whole host of financial reports. As I say, we're doing sales reports, so I'm going to concentrate on this side. Person asked me a question. I choose the customer top 10 list to answer their question about who are our biggest customers, and I get a standard report dialog. Up at the top, if I've used this report before, it asks me if I want to continue using the same setup I used last time, in which case it pre-populates all the options for me. But then it lets me put in my own options as well. So what do I want to see? Local currency, foreign currency? Do I want to see 10 customers, 20 customers? Do I want a pie chart or a bar chart? Some of them might ask me for an ending date. They might ask me for a posting group or a product group, etc. So I fill in the options of what I'm looking for, and then I can filter down on that. This is a customer report, so it lets me filter by customers. So I can choose customer number. I can put in a range of customers to look at from a particular posting group or currency code. I can add as many as I like. I'm just going to look at sales for January, so I'll put in a date range, and I'll preview my report. The report takes a few seconds to run, and it pops up on my screen. And here we can see I've got my report filtered for that date that I asked for. Those are my top 10 customers, how much we invoiced them in January, a total and a percentage of everything. And it produces a nice little pie chart, bar chart. This might be enough to answer the question while the person's standing at my desk. I can give him the answers, print it out, let him take it away, or save it and email it to him. And that's just a standard preview, but there are other options available. So looking at the same report again, same options. This time I'm going to say print. I could choose to print to Microsoft Excel. It would open an Excel spreadsheet with that exact same information we saw in the preview, formatted in the same way. I can do the same with Word, but the one I'm going to choose is PDF. This is nice. When I open the PDF, it's exactly the same report, but it's just presented on the screen. It's a little bit more user-friendly. I can zoom in and zoom out easily. I can search for text within this document. If there are a lot of pages, it will often give me a contents or an index on the side that I can jump to a particular page. I've got all these options. This is nicer than the built-in print preview. I would say that this is a better way of looking at the reports. Again, if I'm happy, I can print them. So that's a standard report. It's very static. It gives me the information to answer the question. If someone else comes to my desk, they ask another question about sales. They want to know how many sales invoices we produced in January. I can't find a report that gives me this information on the system. So this kind of ad hoc reporting, I go and look on the system. It's about sales invoices, so I go and search for my posted sales invoices, and I get them up on my screen. And here I've got this list view of all the sales invoices on my system, and looking at the dates, I can see I've got January, but I've also got some other dates in there as well. So I need to filter this list to only show me January. I'm going to use this filter box up here. If you can't see a filter box, clicking on that arrow makes it disappear and reappear. I can add as many filters as I want, but I'm just interested in the posting date for this one. So I'm going to select posting date. I'm going to enter the range of dates that I'm interested in. So that's from the 1st of January up until the 31st of January. And as soon as I click enter, what I'm seeing on the screen is now a filtered down list. It's only showing me the information that I'm interested in. While someone's standing at my desk, I might be able to answer their questions just looking at my screen. I could sort these entries by any of the columns. So I might choose to sort by customer, for example, and scroll down to see how many times did we sell to the Kenning Group. I can see we sold to him 3 times. That might be the answer we're looking for. Maybe you want to know what was the smallest invoice, what was the largest invoice. Sorting by amount gets me to that information very quickly. I can sort it by date to see the order that the transactions were posted in. If I can't answer the question while the person's sitting at my desk, or they'd like a copy of this that they can go away and work with, I can highlight all the rows. I'll highlight them by just clicking in that blank cell up in the top corner here. That highlights everything for me. I right-click, copy the rows, and once I've done that, I can open Excel and I can paste this information into Excel. This is available on all versions of NAV, so I'm just going to paste here, extend those columns so we can see them. And this is the exact same information that I was looking at on my screen, the exact same columns sorted in the same order. And once I've got this in Excel, obviously I can put in a formula here to calculate a total, calculate an average invoice, minimum, maximum, whatever I need to meet my reporting requirements to answer this question. So that's a kind of a one-off question. I can send the information to someone that way. There's another way of getting things into Excel on newer versions. Sometimes you see a button up there that says send to Excel. On this screen, it's not available, but don't worry. If you click on the little help arrow and choose print and send, there's an option there to send the information to Excel. Opens the Excel spreadsheet. This time, again, it's exactly the same information, but as you can see, this time it's been formatted nicely for me by NAV. It's putting the headings with filters, so I can look at a particular currency, or I could drill down and look at a particular customer. It's created a named range, so it's a table rather than just numbers on a spreadsheet. I can still put in formulas, slightly different, but it depends which way you prefer to see your information, plain text or formatted text. Both options are available in newer versions. So that's another nice, easy way of getting some reports. Another example, someone from finance comes and asks me about sales. They're not interested in customers or items. They're probably interested in what's happening on the general ledger. We've got account schedule reporting to do that. So let's go and have a look at some account schedules. Now, we've done a webinar on account schedules before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. What I have done, I've prepared a very simple account schedule that looks at some sales info. I'll just show you how that was designed. It's taking information from our GL accounts that relate to sales, and it's taking information on cost of sales. And I've put in a formula at the bottom that works out kind of a gross profit, looking at total revenue and total costs to get us that number. Let's see what that report looks like when we view. So I'll go to the overview button and oops, there's no information there. I need to look at January rather than December. Let me scroll back. And here we have our sales information in the general ledger for January. Any of these numbers, I can click on them to see where it came from, and standard NAV functionality, I can drill down into that number and look at the source documents to see exactly what makes up that number. A nice thing about account schedules is, quite apart from seeing the numbers, I can choose a different time period. I can look at weeks or quarters instead of looking at months. I can put in a custom date range. My 2 global dimensions I can filter by, and if I'm doing a report that compares budgets, I can choose which budget. This one's just showing the net change. Let's change it to a budget comparison. And we can change a column layout as soon as I tab off that screen. And now let's look at the 2019 budget. And we can see the same net change we saw before, the budget for the same period, what's the variance, and I can see percentage-wise, I'm about 60% behind target. I can flick between periods. This one doesn't have a budget because it's 2018, and I'm looking at the 2019 budget. So Go back to 2019. Again, this is a nice report. I can do the same things again, copy the rows, paste them to Excel. This screen has the nice shortcut button to export directly to Excel. If you can't see it, once again, clicking on the helper arrow, let me get there. I can put this report in Excel. Obviously, if I do put it in Excel and send it to someone, they're not going to have that drill down functionality in their Excel spreadsheet. Let's say we want a richer reporting solution. Someone comes to us and they want a bit more detail, a bit more a dynamic kind of report. For that, we're going to go outside NAV and we're going to use the first tool I want to talk about called Jet Reports. Now that sits in Excel. Everybody's familiar with Excel. We know how it works. Once you've installed Jet, you get a new toolbar within Excel, which gives you lots of options for building reports. This is a typical toolbar for Jet Professional. I've created a sample report. I'll just show you what that report looks like in its raw state. And here we can see that's the formulas that we put in to create my sales report. Looking at the function, this is bringing information from the value entry table within there. So this is sales reports based on inventory items. This is quite a simple report to build. Once we run it, it just builds a table for us. Because we're looking at inventory, it's got all sorts of positive adjustments. It has our sales and purchase information as well. So we've got a lot more that we can report on this time. Again, it's created for me a named range, and I can build a pivot table from this. I've already built one. This pivot table, we're looking at 2018 and 2019, just looking at the sales information from that data. And we've got each customer, the items that they bought, with an amount and a total for each customer. Very nice report. We can choose what we want to show and how we want to display it on the side. Very easy to change. Instead of looking at sales value, let's look at the quantity that we sold. And now I'm looking at the quantity of items sold instead of the value. Let's put it back to value. That's always more interesting. And we'll put the value back on. And this report is very easy to customize on the fly. So instead of looking at customers by what items did they buy, let's swap that around. Drag and drop. And now I'm looking at each item, all the customers that bought that item, how much did they buy, and there's a total per item. So on the fly, people can ask me questions, I can answer those questions. Instead of looking at it this way, let's make it more into a kind of a matrix. Now I've got the items down the side, customers across the top. So I can see Antarctic Copy bought Mexico swivel chair, £493 worth. I've got a total for each customer at the bottom. And if I scroll to the ends, I've got a total by each item. And you can see how quickly I'm generating different reports from that same set of information. This is an incredibly powerful tool. And you get lots of options. If you go for a professional one, you get extra options. This report could have been created on the free version. On the professional version, we get options for extra functions, fast financial reports, drag and drop reporting, and the ability to schedule reports so that every evening at midnight, this report could be set to run and email the results to everyone in the sales team, for instance. They come to work, they have the report. The next one that I want to show you is Power BI. Unfortunately, I don't have Power BI working on this machine, so I've recorded it already on a different machine. And let me just show you what I recorded for Power BI. Okay, a very busy screen. The idea here is that you can pull information from various data sources. You get loads of options. You can get information out of Excel, from SQL servers, from web feeds. You can bring information in from your Salesforce databases or from websites, and there's literally dozens of places you can bring information in and report on them. You can choose how you want to display that information. You can see I'm showing a map of the world with sales information, a bar chart, and you've got dozens of options over here on how you want to visually present your information, different types of charts. You can add extra pages, and every page the information is related. There's loads of information coming in here about customers, about items, and once we put this all together, we get a very rich reporting environment. Everything here is linked. If I change one thing on this page, it changes everything else. So if I just look at Peter's sales, he only sold in England, I can see where he sold in England. I can see the sales amount and the margin that he's made. And I've got a nice chart, and I can drill in on that chart to get more detailed information. Once I've finished looking here, I can go back, or I can drill in even deeper and start looking at this day by day instead of month by month. And go back to my original report. Let's choose John. And John has got international sales. If I click on North America, you'll see the charts on the right-hand side change. Click again, they go back. Let's have a look at Progressive Home Furnishings. We only sell to them in the United States. The map moves, the bar chart changes, and the numbers change depending on where I'm looking on this report. I can zoom back out on this map, bring back everything. And this is a really rich reporting environment that a few years ago, something like this wouldn't have been possible. Now this is pretty easy for anybody to set up. Please don't worry about that message in the corner. This is pre-recorded, so I'm not going to leave you to do emails. So that's 5 different reporting scenarios I've looked at very briefly. The standard reports, ad hoc reporting from tables in NAV, and account schedules. All 3 of those, they are available in NAV. You have a license, you can use them. It's not going to cost you anything. Big things to learn for your standard reports and ad hoc reporting is how to use those filters smartly to see the information that you're interested in. The standard reports, if you have some statutory requirement to produce a set report every month, it doesn't exist. We could create one for you. The nice thing is it's cast in stone. You're never going to make a mistake. Ad hoc reporting, you can do that on the fly. And your account schedules, again, they're nice. They let you drill down where did the information come from. The 2 tools we looked at outside of NAV were Jet Reports. Jet Reports comes in 3 flavors. The Jet Express is free. You could download it today, and if you've got an on-site NAV server, you could be looking at reports tomorrow. You don't have to pay a penny. It's just the investment that you make in your time and effort in figuring out how to make it work. There's a professional version which you pay for, which gives you richer functionality, allows you to schedule reports. It allows you to produce those reports and put them on a website instead of in Excel. And then there's Jet Enterprise, which is the big boy in Jet's arsenal, which is full-on BI reporting, builds cubes and everything. Power BI, that is Microsoft's flagship reporting tool. Again, there's a free option that lets you look at the product. It does impose some limits on how much information you can analyze at once. If you like it, you go for the paid version, but then that gives you access to bring in information, not just from NAV, from your Salesforce or your back office solution. And you can put reports together quite nicely. You can set that up internally if you have your own IT department. And again, there's a bit of a learning curve on that one to put your reports together and build your cubes nicely. Both Jet and Power BI, the user looking at the reports doesn't need NAV installed on their machine, so they can be accessing via a web page on a tablet. So it's a perfect solution if you have a mobile Salesforce and they need to be on the road looking at reports. And both of them are very customizable. You're limited by your imagination and the amount of effort you want to put in. There are other options available for reporting. If you've got the IT skills, you could start using Microsoft SQL analysis services or reporting services. And then you could use Crystal Reports or Cognos or SAS or some product like that as your front end. And those are incredibly powerful reporting tools. If you're interested in that level of BI, we can help you with advice on which one would work for you, and we can help you with your initial setup as well. So those are the 5 different options. I'll pass back to Karen.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Ian. This is the time to ask any questions about reporting, anything that you've seen, anything that you haven't seen so far. So we'll just give you a minute or 2 to do that, and then we'll read some out.
Okay, and the first question that's come in is a really interesting one. Can we restrict access to certain reports? Okay, I'll assume that's on the NAV standard reports. Yes, the security that you set up within NAV, just because somebody can click on an account schedule, if they're not allowed to read the general ledger, they won't see anything on their screen. They'll only be allowed to see the information that their security lets them view, so it's your standard NAV security. And every one of those reporting options, they have different security protocols in place that you can restrict who's allowed to see what quite nicely. Another question, does Power BI work from live data or exported data? Power BI works from a cube. So you'd have on a schedule, say every hour or every 15 minutes, depending on what processing power you have available. That cube would get fresh information from NAV, and then Power BI would report on whatever's in that cube. So Power BI is almost live information. It's usually 15 minutes to an hour behind reality. If you compare that to something like Jet, Jet is live. When you click run, it goes and fetches new data from the database. And obviously the built-in reports in NAV and ad hoc queries, that's all live information as well. Someone else, we don't really have time to create report templates. Is this something T-Vision could do for us? Yes, it is, certainly. If it's standard NAV reports, that's something we do for you quite happily. If it's ad hoc reporting or something you need helping with, we can provide training for you. Jet reports, we provide the training for you, a bit of advice, but we let you go and create those reports for yourself. And there's a vast online community for both Power BI and Jet reports where users help each other for free. And then, of course, there are paid options to get help on those 2 more complex reporting solutions. I see there's quite a few more questions. Anybody that I haven't answered your question now, I will send you an email this afternoon with a more detailed answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ian. So I'm just going to leave you with the 5 kind of key takeaways about reporting, which we hope will assist you when considering what the best method is for your business. So first of all, you need to understand what the potential impact could be on your business in order to justify any cost or time investment in the new reporting method. These could be areas such as saving in labour or quicker actionable insights to take advantage of opportunity areas. Then it's the question what you actually need to report on. If you're producing the same report for years but don't know what they're actually useful and why, then perhaps question this and find out what really is important. Next, what are you actually going to do with the reports? Are decisions based on them, sales commissions or legal requirements? If there's no action that takes place from reviewing the reports, is it worth continuing to produce them? Next, do you need to access the reports out of the office or at home? If so, how easy is it for them people to be able to access them via a phone, tablet or web browser? And then finally, best practice really is for somebody to own the reporting and maintain them within a central repository. So who's in charge of refreshing the reports and distributing them? Who can the company go to if they had a new reporting requirement? Okay, so we hope you found this webinar interesting and informative. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is the 8th in the series. We'll be sending out email soon for the next one. But please do note that on our website, you can go back and review previous webinar recordings. So thank you again for attending. I'm going to close the session now and a survey will appear. It'd be great if you could respond with some feedback. If you do have any further questions, please feel free to email them to me at marketing@tvision.co.uk. Thank you very much.